All right, everybody, it's Belinda one more time. I am joined here by my friend Gabe De Silva, and so excited to have Gabe with us today. So he has a very interesting story. So it's exciting for many reasons. Number one, he's our first male guest, so that's awesome. So for those guys out there, here's a story for you. And secondly, he's had bariatric surgery. So as a OR nurse, I'm always in the room when these cases are going on, but I never get to see patients outside, after they've gone through the process. So this is also exciting for me too. And you know what? And I'm pretty sure someone out there who may have been considering it might also gain something from this conversation too. So I think it's good benefit. It's beneficial all around. So first, Gabe, thanks again. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, I'm Gabriel De Silva, Gabe. Um, I was born in Brazil, been here for pretty much all my life since I was 10 years old. Um, I was always a big kid. I always turned to food for anything and everything, whether it was a way out of going through something tragic or even through a celebration of victory or a win. So I was, as a kid, being always bigger. There were a lot of times I was made fun of in school, um, and instead of the way I took it was I just used it, to as far as to gain popularity, or I don't know, however you want to call it. I always called it a way out. So and then I ended up getting bigger and bigger as growing up, and then so started hearing about the weight loss surgeries, and then hearing more and more about it. I was kind of against it at first because I always thought it was a way out, and then growing up and then still going, gaining more weight, I started, you know, having certain problems, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, ended up to a point where I was almost, pre-diabetic. Um, so then I started, I started doing some research on my own, throughout this whole time, throughout the whole time, I did try certain diets, and, none of them just seemed to work. Um, like I said before, at first I was kind of against it until somebody close to me ended up having the surgery. And when I witnessed the entire recovery, that's when, and how quick she recovered, that's when I was like, you know what, maybe I should definitely do this. So I
Wow.
did it, and yeah, here I am
Okay, well,
today.
okay. So that's a nice overview. So we're gonna start from the beginning, because I want to know all the juicy parts. So tell me,
Yeah.
what if you don't mind sharing, what was your heaviest?
I don't remember exactly when it was
Mm-hmm.
throughout the year, around what year, but my all-time heaviest, I was exactly 410 pounds. 400,
Wow.
like 410, around 410, 420
Okay.
pounds. Yeah.
All right. Wow. So how did you feel? When you were around that time.
At that time, I mean, honestly, yeah, I felt heavy, and but at the same time, I just felt me, because I was, even though I was always big, I wasn't always down about it. I was always happy. I was still happy about myself. I was happy with myself, even though I was big. I didn't let that bother me. I lived life day to day with a smile on my face, doing what I was, doing what I would love doing. So and having my friends and family, and and they always knew I was big. So, it wasn't really a big deal to me. So
What were you trying when you decided that you needed to change something? What did you decide to try?
at first, I decided to try the South Beach diet, and that was back in 2008. That was way even before, that was before I even heard anything about surgery, um, gastric bypass surgery, things like that. So that's what I first started with, and it worked at first, but in the long run, it was not for me.
Right.
So I did try different diets, and then it didn't work for me. And at throughout that point, I couldn't figure out as to why. When I did more research, and decided to finally say, you know what, let me give the whole weight loss gastric bypass thing a shot, and getting more info about it, that's when I was like, you know what, okay, maybe this is the way that I'm gonna have to do it, because if I don't do it this way, and if I don't become more disciplined about it, then I'm not gonna, you know, I could drop dead. I
Right.
could be
Right.
here, and yeah,
So
so.
what was the turning point for you? What was the did someone speak to you? Did something happen that made you realize, you know what, this way I'm living right now has to change?
At first, someone very close to me
Hmm.
spoke to me regard about my weight, and at that time my age. It was around, I want to say I was 27 or 28 when he spoke to me. And at that time, I didn't even know anything about the gastric bypass. So, but when he spoke to me at that time, that was when I was around my highest, which was around 410. And I was around 27. And, long story short on that part, he said, if you keep going the way that you're going right now, you're not going to live past 35. So, and around that same time, that was when I was already on the CPAP machine, but in high blood pressure, multiple high blood pressure medications, as well as a cholesterol medication. So, it was kind of a reality check at first, but it didn't hit me until 2017. So,
So what happened in 2017 for it to like really hit you?
so in 2017, I ended up, I was married before. So in 2017, I got divorced. And at that time, I was around 340, 330, 340 pounds. So throughout the divorce, I was going through a lot
Mhm.
mentally. So throughout the divorce until it got finalized, I was in the car business, but I was also eating, I had turned to food. So I was eating a lot. I like a lot. So, I ended up gaining weight, and I ended up going back to being around my highest before 400, 410. So that's when, also at that same year, my mom, who was, heavy at the time also, she was already going through the whole process of the gastric bypass surgery. So that gave me even more like, okay, it gave me more of a reason to move on, to move towards that.
Right.
However, at the same time, I was worried because that's my mom going through the surgeries. I've also heard bad stories about it. And at the same time, so I was worried, like, what if something goes wrong?
Right.
So, I wasn't completely convinced about doing the surgery until how quickly she recovered from the surgery.
Hmm.
How quickly she recovered from the surgery. And so when I saw that, that's when I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a shot. And that was when I went to a seminar.
Okay. So I'm gonna go back just a little bit one more time before we head to surgery. So you had mentioned that when you started the dieting, like the was it the South Beach diet?
Mm-hmm.
Did you experience any results? Did you lose weight and then did it spike again after the divorce? Is that what happened?
Well, when I tried the South Beach diet, that was back in 2008. So that
Oh,
was
that's way back.
way, yeah, that was way back. But when I did try that, I did lose weight. I ended up losing about 35 to it was around 30 to 40 pounds in a matter of 2 months. So, at I was at that time I was excited about it, but then come to find out it was kind of losing the weight. That weight was kind of lost too quick, even though some of the weight was water weight. It was too quick because the main concern of the South Beach diet was just cutting off carbs, no carbs at all. So no carbs, no dairy, so no bread, no cheese, no milk, no soda, so nothing carbs for straight 2 weeks. and then you put little by little carbs back in.
I see.
I did lose, it did work. However, in the long run, it didn't work for me. I ended up gaining the weight plus more back.
So what you discovered is basically that it wasn't sustainable.
Correct.
Okay, awesome. All right. So now moving forward, now you see that your mom um, has gone through surgery. Now, did she have the sleeve? Was it the bypass? Was it the band?
No, she had the sleeve as well.
Okay.
She had the sleeve as well. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, how about you? Did you have the sleeve too?
I had the sleeve as well.
Okay.
At first, I wanted the, I did not want the sleeve because because of the fact that the sleeve, out of all the three procedures, the sleeve is non-reversible. The versus the other two that there are. Whether the if you wanted removed, that you can go in after a certain amount of time. I don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
you can go in and they can remove it for you, or they can loosen the band, so you can intake more through the system, through your system.
Right.
But it with the sleeve, it's non-reversible. With the sleeve, they can't once you go, that's it, you can't go back to it. So, and with the sleeve, they cut, I mean, depending, each body is different, but it's around 60 to 70%. If I'm not exactly sure on the numbers, but they
Right.
they cut about 60% of your stomach off.
Right, they do. So now, for those of you who are wondering or who may not know, there are three different types of gastric bypasses. I mean, gastric surgery. We call them bariatric surgery. And there's the sleeve, the band, and the bypass. And like you heard Gabe said, one of them is permanent. The other two are not. You can go back and adjust, or you can reverse it, what have you. But in Gabe's case, he decided to go with the permanent one. So now you had mentioned that your mom went through it and she had like a very quick recovery. So how quick was the recovery, and what were you? How quick was the recovery?
So the recovery normally takes 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
They tell you that depending on what you do for your career for work, if you do a lot of heavy lifting, or moving around, things like that, they tell you to take a full 2 weeks off. Um, they but they tell you to do that in general. They tell you also that if you feel comfortable enough to go back to work, also depending on what you do, by all means feel free to go back into work sooner. My you know Me being in the car business, I'm always sitting at a desk. So, with me, when my recovery, I didn't take the full 2 weeks off. I was back to work after 4 days because,
Wow.
like I said, all I was doing was I was always in front of the computer. I'm always on the phone, or sending an email or something. Now, my mom, on the other hand, my parents own a cleaning business, so they're doing house cleaning as well as commercial cleaning. So they're essential. They're always on their feet. My mom was supposed to take 2 weeks, and she was back to work about a week. In about a
Wow.
week.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did she feel okay going back to work in a week's time?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
She felt fine.
Okay, that's awesome. So now walk us through the process for you. Like, again, because I'm in the OR, I never get to. I don't know the beginning part or the end part. I just
Hmm.
hear about it. But it's nice to be able to speak to someone who went through that process. But, so what was the preparation process like?
So let me see. So okay. Well, you go to the seminar, you choose to do it. You go in, they take your information, whatever. Throughout, before the whole process takes about a year.
Okay.
It from you have visits with a dietitian or nutritionist. You also have visits, you get to meet the surgeon, you get to meet pretty much everybody that's gonna go through that's a part of the entire process, including the surgery. So you meet the surgeon. My guy, his name is Dr. Lautz, out of Emerson Hospital.
Okay.
So so yeah, I had mine done at Emerson Hospital, so as well as my mom. So you meet the doctor, you meet the whole crew, you meet his assistant, the dietitian, you also get a psychiatrist, a counselor. um and at any time, even when you're not there, for an appointment, whatever you questions you have, or even if you just want to talk, like they're there to help you. So you know, at first it's nervous, because you're afraid, depending on how you are. I don't like to share. I didn't really like to share my personal information about my weight being always big, to someone that I don't know. I was like that, especially also during that time, going through my divorce. I was in that mentality of, I don't trust anybody, like so. Um, I was really nervous about it, but then, after a while, I got used to it, got more comfortable, and then, and then it just became easier and less nervous. So, but you go through it all. You get to know everybody throughout the entire time, and then you meet the people that are gonna be there with you, taking care of you, giving you the anesthesia as you get closer and closer to the surgery. To that time, you meet the people, and then you're always connecting somehow, some way back to the ones that you first met in the beginning. So.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. So it sounds like you were pretty well supported
Mm-hmm.
prior to the surgery. So even while you were going through the process, you knew that this is um, that you felt that you had the support. Now, was there at any point did you second guess yourself, or you felt like you were not as supported, or
Um, there was one time where I did second guess. I
uh-huh.
was always I was I was always well supported. That I will say. I
Okay.
was always well supported, whether it was by certain friends, that whoever was there. I ended up talking to so many people, man, that
I can imagine.
I could,
Your whole team.
I could shout out everybody from, people that both you and I know to, like I remember, actually three of the most people that I talked to the most about it was, Hanif and Sam Joseph. Shout out to them,
Awesome.
because it was crazy. And there was one point, going back to the point, there was one point I second guessed myself, because at that time, um around 2017, I was really busy. I was really, really busy in the car business at that time.
Uh-huh.
So it and I was busy enough where, if when I had the chance to eat, I would eat, right? So whether it would be at 10 o'clock in the morning or at lunchtime, 12 o'clock. So then I would eat as much as I could, and then I would go back to doing the work. Sometimes that work would take so long, whether it was showing a car to a customer, selling a car, or making sure the car is ready for its delivery to the customer. And, depending on how long it takes, problems can go wrong with insurance communication back and forth, that it take hours. So sometimes it can take so long that you don't have time to even take a break.
Right.
The customer is your number one priority.
Right.
So it came to a point where I was so busy at that time that I wouldn't eat. I would forget to eat. I would put my work first. So I would just say, I'm not going to eat. I could wait till I get home. But by the time I got home, it would be 9:30 o'clock, 9:30 at night, and it would just be too late. And I would just be too exhausted. So I would just go to sleep.
Mm.
So I noticed later, weeks going by after, during that time, that I wasn't gaining weight, but I wasn't losing weight. But I felt more, like, more flexible, like I would be able to move around more quicker at that time, being big. So, you know, they were like, you're not eating as much, but when you eat a lot.
Right.
So what's going on with you? So I was like, I don't know. And then they're like, it sounds like you're intermittent fasting. And at that time, I didn't know what that was.
Right. Right. Right.
So, I ended up finding out more about that, but I didn't find out more about that until surgery. And then it came to find out, like, I would just simply forget to eat. So because I would forget to eat, I would be burning off, fat or protein off muscles off my body. And, at the time being big, I didn't realize it. So, but now after the surgery, it's, and now with COVID especially, um, I have become, my position. from back then in the car business versus now, it has completely changed. So now
Right.
I'm running around more.
Mm.
It's
I thought you were
great.
gonna say less. That's interesting that you said you were running around more. I thought you were gonna say you're running around less.
No, I'm running around more. Like before I was running around more, but it was more being around with the customer showing the car. Now I'm running around more because there's less people, unfortunately. You know, so there's more responsibilities on my plate, from taking pictures and posting them to the website. I have to get the
Oh, I
cars
see.
cleaned up, have to make sure the cars are clean and ready for delivery, and then on top of clean, because it's COVID, all the vehicles have to be sanitized. So you know, that's part of my responsibility on top of, you know, so I'm running around a lot more now. Being skinnier, it's great. However, because I'm skinnier, I am noticing that when, if I don't eat at a certain time, my body, I can feel it in my body.
Mm.
So I feel weaker, or, you know, so I just feel weaker, whether it's weaker in my in muscles or my legs, or a little bit dehydrated. So, you know, now it's more with the surgery. It's more you have to be more alert with yourself, because or because now everything, once you have the surgery, everything is smaller. So you have to kind of feed your body more. You know what I mean? If
So
that makes sense.
so you're basically, what I hear you saying is that you're more in tune with your body now than
Exactly.
you were prior to.
Right.
Right. So now you're becoming a little bit more aware of what hunger feels like, of
Mm-hmm.
what, instead of just eating just to eat, now you understand like what hunger feels like. And so that's what I hear you saying. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So now with the surgery, did they, prior to that, when you were meeting with the nutritionist and the counselors and all that, was there anything that they were, any techniques or anything that they were teaching you to change prior to? Were they encouraging you to change anything prior to surgery? Like, were you encouraged to lose a certain amount or anything like that?
Yes, so they did want to see me actually do work
Okay. Good.
before the surgery. So, you know, I ended up losing, by myself, I ended up losing about 40, like about 40 pounds by myself throughout the that process.
Okay.
And by doing that, I did, you know, I cut out certain things. I had cut out soda. I used to drink alcohol, so I was already cutting down on alcohol beverages. So with the surgery, this helped me cut out a lot more.
I see.
And then I eventually just like stopped drinking. So you know what I mean? I don't even drink anymore. So,
Okay.
but I did have to cut out more. I did have to lose weight on my own to show them that I was actually not only willing to do it myself, but that this just wasn't the easy way out. Because at
Right.
the end of the day, even after the surgery, I've come to learn that it's still not the easy way out, because I
Right.
still have to go to the gym. Like I got, like, listen, if you listen, and guys, don't be ashamed. Like, yeah, listen, I'm gonna show you. Like, I lost so much weight. I got this. Like, I I'm trying to gain weight now. Like, I'm trying to gain muscles.
Muscle. Yep.
So you know what I mean. So
Yep. So you went through the process, the whole year long process, which is pretty good. You did the surgery, um, and how was the recovery process for you? What
for
I
me,
mean, in the first couple of weeks, how was that?
well, once you get out of the hospital, you know, it was quick for me.
Mm.
You know, because they do the surgery. You know, they then you wake up. When you wake up, you're back in the recovery room from,
Mm.
you know, when you wake up from the anesthesia. That part is the most painful. However, you know, the pain that comes from the gas. You have all this gas in your body, and as painful as it is, and as much as you're gonna want, you might not remember it, or you might not realize it, but you're gonna ask for those pain pills, and they're gonna tell you no. And being real with y'all, men, women, is natural. The only way for that pain is to let it
Let it
all
out.
the gas out, let it
Right.
out.
And,
So
yeah, and you definitely have gas, and it's primarily because of how we do surgery, right? It's because of the
right,
laparoscopic process. So
Exactly.
your abdomen is inflated with gas so that we can actually do the procedure. So yes, you're
Exactly.
gonna definitely have all this trapped gas at the end, because at the end we're not able to take out everything. You know what I mean? So you're going
Exactly.
to have to trap stuff, and because the procedure is longer too, you're going to have, some of it's just going to retain. So that's just another reason why. And just the mere
Exactly.
fact that it's an abdominal surgery, you're always going to have issues with like gas or anything like that.
Yeah.
Abdominal surgery, you're kind of like fumbling around with that area.
Mm-hmm.
So with the intestines and all that. So I mean, because even people with women, if you have C-section, you're gonna have issues with like gas and moving your bowels and all that stuff, because we're down there, we're moving stuff around, you're on narcotics and all that stuff. So it's like a combination of stuff. So go ahead. You were saying that the recovery process, it was gas.
So
Yeah,
yeah, that's by far the worst part of the entire process at all.
that's
So
interesting.
once that part is over, by that time that part is over, you're pretty much back asleep for a little while. They put you back asleep, and then you wake up. You're in your room already. You're still all woozy from all the medication
Mm-hmm.
and still recovering from the anesthesia. You're not gonna walk. You're gonna be thirsty and want water. However, at the end of the day, at that point, your stomach is very, very fragile. So when they give you something, it's literally not even like a shot; it's just a sip.
Mm-hmm.
But one the most anyways, so the most painful part is the part where you have to pass that gas. So once you're done through that part, you're pretty good. And then you're in the hospital. I was in the hospital. I had the surgery, and then I stayed one night in the hospital, and then I went home the next day around the afternoon. um when I went home, I because when you're staying in the hospital, you're pretty much doing the beginning of the first stage
Right.
of the whole diet.
Recovery process. Yeah.
There's multiple stages, and it's like 5 stages, and each stage you're pretty much introducing your stomach to foods and ingredients and certain things. You're not just gonna wake up, recover, be discharged from the hospital and go hit up Popeyes.
Right.
So
Or have
what
like a
I'm
steak.
saying, or have a steak.
Right. Right.
Like, so you go home, you're still in pain, but you're good compared to the pain before. So, but you introduce your stomach through the stages. The stages, all in all, it takes about a month to 2 months. Um, the first couple of stages, I think like the first 3 stages is about the first month, because the first stage itself, it's about a week. That's when you're in the hospital, you get discharged, they send you home, you still have to eat, not eat, but you still have to, sip on the protein drink that they give you or they send you home with, and that they tell you to get at the store, as well as, you can't eat, you're eating gelatin. Now, at that time, you're looking at like, I can't eat this, I need something real food. However, that gelatin is going to fill you up,
Yeah. Because
during that
stomach is
time.
smaller now.
Your stomach is super
Yeah.
small. It's like smaller than a mini muffin,
Yeah.
a mini cupcake or something, at that time. So, as you introducing your stomach to new foods and ingredients, um, you that's when you're really testing your discipline, because you're bringing back certain foods. As you're bringing back certain foods, now, here's the thing. Me personally, I'm a fat kid at heart. Okay, I done lost 200 plus pounds. I'm still a fat kid at heart. I can still describe the detail of a baked mac and cheese with sweet potato. Like, don't get me started. So, like, you know what I mean? So it's like, as you're introducing, the way it was with me, is as I was introducing the foods to my stomach and getting it, my stomach getting used to it, I enjoyed the taste more and more, because you're eating less, but you learn to enjoy the taste and the food more. However, there is gonna come a point in time where you're gonna enjoy it a bit too much, and you're gonna eat a little bit too much, and you're gonna get sick and throw up. And that's what's really gonna test your discipline. Because at first, and I'm telling you, you might say it to yourself, I'm gonna do so good, it's not gonna happen to me, I'm gonna avoid it. Nope. It will
It's gonna
happen.
happen.
It's
Right.
gonna happen. Okay. So at one point or the other. So that's really, and that's really going to be the test to the discipline, because you don't want, because once you go through that little sick feeling, it's not a fun feeling. Yeah,
Right.
you feel great after you throw up, but through that just whole feeling, even though it's a quick thing, it's just it's just nasty. So you're the test is right there. So you see more and more, and then you get more used to it, and then you try
Right.
that ingredient again later on certain things, but and then you just go on from there. The first 5 stages takes about 2 months, I want to
2
say.
months. Okay.
Yeah, it's average. Some people
So,
might take longer, some people might do it quicker, but as far as making your stomach back to normal again. But yeah.
so now with you, were there? Obviously, I can't. Can I? Is it safe to assume that you're speaking from experience in terms of eating? Thinking that you can handle it, and then you eat like a little bit too much, and then you get yourself sick.
So yeah, so there were a few times that happened to me, but that's all part of the process, like you're gonna go through that as you introduce certain meats, like, because I think it's like on the fourth stage you introduce, you can start eating meat, but before, there's a stage before where you can eat meat, but here's the thing, you can't chew it yet. So the only way for you to eat the meat is if you technically blend it. So
Mm.
because there's a part, one of the stages, it's like stage 2 or 3,
Your
you
liquid
can,
diet.
yeah, it's still a part of that where you can eat beans, you can eat rice, but it has to be blended. So
Right.
if you need that protein and you don't feel like drinking the protein shake, because you're gonna get sick of it after a point in time,
Yeah.
because you're drinking that protein shake literally every single day for about a week and a half.
For all the meals, yeah. So basically, you're on like a liquid diet and then a puree diet. So then that would
Exactly.
probably be more like when you can have rice, beans, and some meat. So it's like more puree, and that's not
Exactly.
fun to eat. I would assume, like with meat,
It
with
just
meat.
it just gets boring,
Right.
once the puree thing, it just gets boring. So once you get so bored from the puree, and then you get to that one stage, you get to that part where you can actually chew on a good juicy piece of chicken, like,
Right.
your mentality, I'm telling you, you're gonna become greedy. It's just nature, it's just bound to happen,
Right.
and you're just gonna have one too many bites, and you might get a little sick and you might throw up, and yeah, it's bound to happen, but it's not like that all the time,
Right. Right. Right.
right now, today marks exactly 2 years since I had the surgery. Right now, 2 years later, I can eat like an actual portion plate. I can have my rice, beans, little side of mac and cheese, little slice of bread, or with some salad and veggies. I'm good. uh, Once I'm eat that, I'm good. If I feel full, I stop. Because now I know how much I'm taking. I know I'm taking in. I know how much. I know my limit. You know, but you it's just a part of the process, like, and,
Right.
and every person is different. You might
Right.
throw up. I'm gonna tell you right now, throughout the 2 years, I have been able to eat everything. As far as ingredient, I can eat anything. you know I can't handle spicy food anymore like I used to, but other than that, I can eat anything except ingredients, meats, veggies, except for one thing, you know
Which
and
is what's
that's,
that one thing that you can't have right now?
I can no longer eat a steak,
Okay.
like a juicy steak. I cannot go and ask for a T-bone. I cannot go and ask for a ribeye at a Texas Roadhouse, and fork and knife, and I can't. I don't, no matter, doesn't matter how juicy it is, in it just simply doesn't digest. It gets stuck in some part in my stomach. It just doesn't digest. It sits there, and then 30 minutes or so, 20 minutes, I have to throw it up.
Mm.
So once I throw it up, I feel fine. I'm good.
So it
But
makes you
that's the
nauseous.
yeah, it makes me nauseous, and it doesn't digest. It sits there. I have to force it out.
So
So
now, can you eat like chicken or fish like though?
yeah, and that's
Okay.
the thing. I can
It's
eat
just the
chicken.
steak.
I can eat fried chicken, grilled chicken, boiled chicken. I can eat fish. I can eat ground meat. I can eat a hamburger, juicy. But I can't eat a steak. Now, that's just me. So it's like my mom, on the other hand, my mom can eat a steak
Mm.
and she's fine. And but I just can't eat a steak.
You just can't eat it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I miss it.
I know.
But you know what? I mean, it's steak. There's
Right.
so many other things that I can eat. And it's like before, and your whole mind changes too. Like, because before I'm like, damn, I can't have a steak. Like, damn, like, come on. And like now it's like, I can't have a steak. I'm 36. I was told I couldn't see past 35. Like, I'm here. So
That's a that's
what's a
that's
steak?
great. Yeah, right. You're absolutely right, and that's an awesome way to look at it because sometimes I think we're so focused on what we cannot eat that we lose sight of the many things that we can eat or the other things that we have. We do have other things that we have in our lives that we are grateful for. Like you just said, like you were told you probably wouldn't see this age if you didn't stop living the way you were, but then here you are now. So it's like a steak, man. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
mean, obviously there'll be sometimes you're like, oh, that'd be nice, but at the same time, you're not like um, crying over it. I guess crying over
Right.
it's not what I really want to say, but like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that much of it's not that deep of a desire compared to the many other things that you can appreciate and you can eat.
Exactly.
Right. That's awesome. So now it's 2 years, and which is awesome that we're actually doing this interview like
I know,
exactly
right? That's
two
crazy.
years later. How cool is that? So like, how much did you lose?
Now I'm 160.
Oh, that's awesome.
So from 410 to 160
That's awesome. That's awesome. So
in two
now,
years.
have you been using? Are you eating the same way that you've been eating before, or do you now? I mean, you did mention that you're a little bit more aware. You're a little bit more in tune with your body. But in terms of techniques, what have you been implementing in your life to make sure that you stay, you know, that you sustain the weight loss?
So as far as the eating, I mean, I eat pretty much whatever.
Do you still eat the same amount, or do you eat less?
No, well, from the surgery, I eat like a regular person now. Like I can eat an actual, like if we were, I can get an app like if I was to go out to a restaurant, I can eat some of the appetizer. I can eat my full course, my full course, my entree, and then that's it. And then that's it. I won't have dessert. If I do have a dessert, it won't be until if I do have something sweet, it won't be till like 2-3 hours after
Okay.
that digests. But
Okay.
that's about it.
Okay.
Um, I do have a breakfast, I do eat a lunch, I do have a dinner, and I also do snacks. I do get hungry every once in a while. So, but yeah, everything also I have come to, like I don't do any more junk food, like not junk food. I don't want to say junk food. I don't go like
Processed food.
processed food. Exactly. Exactly. Like I'll give you an example. Like, I mean, even though I just finished it, like I had a coffee, I was super tired, you know, all day today. I was playing with my girlfriend's daughter all day today. So I was exhausted. I needed a coffee, right? So my coffee, I normally put 3 sugars, or I'll put 2 shots or 3 shots of caramel or whatever flavor swirl I choose to. I just, I don't do sugar anymore. All that artificial crap, processed crap, I don't do anymore. If I do need something sweet for sugar, and guys, this is weird. Like my coffee drinkers, my peoples, if you drink coffee, try honey as a sugar in your
Are you
coffee.
serious?
I am not playing with you. If you drink hot coffee in the morning, the honey is fire. It
Really?
just melts. Yeah, drink honey. Whether you drink it black or with milk, if you drink it hot, put honey. Not, I don't recommend doing the honey on ice, but
Yeah.
you're not just because you're not. If you're gonna cut sugar, you're not gonna just cut it right off away. So
Right.
I had to find substitutes,
Yeah.
and I did honey, and honey is fire. It's so good.
I can't
Um,
imagine. I can't think about. I mean, I don't. I haven't drank coffee in a while because I cut
yeah,
it off. I definitely do my green tea though, but like
yeah.
I would never think to put like honey in coffee.
Yeah, like
That
you put a
is
spoon of
crazy.
sugar, you put a spoon of honey instead. Like it's just good in my opinion, and it's healthy, healthier,
Yes,
I should
definitely
say.
better. Yeah. Now,
Better.
when you were using sugar, were you using like white sugar or like the artificial sweeteners, like the
I
sweet and
was using,
low and
honestly, at the time I was just using anything I could get my hands onto. So it's like if they didn't have the regular sugar and they only had sweet and low, I would get my hands on sweet and low. I
nice.
would, or if they had only equal, I would use equal, or only Splenda, I would only use Splenda. So I mean,
So
I needed,
you were just like you didn't care. You just wanted something sweet and low. All
yeah,
right, cool.
yeah, but I mean, like, I know, like, depending, like, I know there were times where they didn't have sugar, the regular white domino sugar or artificial sugar, but they had sugar in the raw. And I know, yeah, technically that's kind of healthier, but like if they had sugar in the raw, like, I would choose that over the artificial sugar.
Right. But if you just have to get used to changing how you eat and like the mental shift that goes along with it, and
Yeah.
definitely trying out new things to make sure to see what fits, what works with you. Like for example, you trying honey with coffee. Like I'm pretty sure
Mm-hmm.
you probably wouldn't have thought to think that to try that if you were if you were continuing with the regular sugar thing. So
Right.
kind of cool. So like, what's one thing that you know now that you wish you knew before you had surgery?
At the end of the day, man, like, I'm not. This might come out this might come out as a way of a discouraging way as
Mm.
to, if you feel that you want to get the surgery done, if you feel that that's gonna help you out, and live your life, by all means, brothers, my women, by all means do that. If you feel that you don't, maybe it's not for you, or you need to do more research, that's fine. One thing that I have realized, man, is that at the end of the day is all mental, and it is all about your discipline. It's all about your discipline, bro, because like it came to a point, like I said, there will be times, even now, I'm so busy running around, I forget to eat. So it's like, you know it, it's like I forget to eat, and then I realize I forgot to eat, and then I'm gonna eat right now. But then it's like you're not gonna eat double. You're not gonna eat from the amount of food that you ate before, and plus the food that you're gonna eat now. Your stomach,
Right.
you can't handle it, so you're
Right.
only gonna eat that little bit. So it's like, man, I'm only gonna eat this little bit because my stomach, that's all my stomach can take now.
Right.
But in reality, if you hadn't done the surgery, you could just stick to your mind, this is all that I'm gonna eat right
Right.
now. I forgot to eat back 6, 8 hours ago. That's my own fuck. My bad. That's my own fault. I forgot to eat. I don't know if real raw. I don't know if
That's
it's
all
rated
right. That's
PG
all right.
13.
You're good.
You know
You're
what I'm
good. Keep
saying?
going.
Like if I forgot to eat 8 months, I mean 8 hours ago, that's my own fault. I'm
Right.
gonna eat the amount of food that I'm supposed to eat now, the
Right.
amount of portion, the portion that is right for my body. And if I need to eat more, then no, then that's it. Then
I
that's it.
totally. That's awesome. I'm really happy that you said that because at the end of the day, it's about um, self discipline, like you said, and it's a
Like,
mental thing.
yeah, like I'm gonna tell you something. Like, like I'm gonna tell you something, and I even have it's crazy because I was going through my pictures. I was cleaning out my iPhone because I ended up my cloud was almost full storage, and it was mostly pictures and stuff. So I was going through pictures, and it was funny because it was the beginning of 2018. I had already started the process, the whole weight loss thing, but it wasn't big into it, and there was a time where me, Hanif, and Sam we met up. We decided to meet up, and Sam is a pilot.
Mhm.
Hanif is an entrepreneur. I'm in the car business. We never see each other. So the one time we had the opportunity, we met up. We met up at Planet Fitness, right? So we were some food lovers back then. So, and it was before my surgery. We met up at Planet Fitness. Before we went to Planet Fitness, we met up at Little Caesars right up the street. It was pizza night at Planet Fitness, but we went into Planet Fitness with our own Little Caesars. Hanif,
So you guys were pre gaming
we but
with them.
we didn't even go to work out. So here's the thing: when we went to Little Caesars, they didn't have, it was the Little Caesar, one of the ones in Worcester. They didn't have tables to sit down, so we needed to find a place to sit. and we didn't have nowhere to go. So we were like, you know what? Let's just go to Planet Fitness. Hanif had a membership. So we went into Planet Fitness and we sat at the table. At the same night, it was pizza night. So it was funny because we were eating all these pizza. Now, mind you, I was big. I had about 3 full pies. Hanif had about, I don't remember, but he had more pies than I did. Sam had his own pies. We had about 10 to 15 pies of pizza. That's how much it was, okay? I'm telling you,
Wow.
we took a selfie of us three with all the pies. You can see it, like, so here's the thing. We all finished our food,
That's crazy.
okay? We all finished our food. Now, I finished my food, but technically I was full after the third slice of pizza.
Mm. So now, what made you decide to keep going? Was it the
But here's the thing.
competition? What was it?
It wasn't a competition. It honestly wasn't a competition. It was just it was just eating just to eat. It was just
Wow.
like it could have been from anything, from testing out your limits as to see how much most you could fit. It could be from anything. But try eating pies now. Try. I can't. I wouldn't even think about it.
Right.
I could die
Yeah.
just from
Yeah.
throwing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could throw up after 4 slices of pizza. Like right now, I can only eat 2 slices, but I'm good.
That's crazy. It's crazy that you say that because it's like you're like, you ate like 3 pies, but then you were technically full after three
Slices.
slices. You were full after 3 slices, which is totally different because that means you ate like an additional what? 12, 13, 4, how many more slices just because? That's crazy. Wow. And what did you feel sick? Like, did you guys feel sick like after eating all those?
Oh no, we sat down, we were chilling, we were talking, we had a full conversation, and after that, after about 30, once we finished, we hung out at Planet Fitness for like 30 minutes, and then we left. We went our separate ways. They went home. He went home. Hanif went home. I went home. Did my thing. But,
Wow, that's crazy.
but it's
That's
like
crazy.
you know what I mean. Like it's all at the end of the day, that's the one thing I learned is discipline. It is discipline, and now the discipline is even more. It's more strict because it's easier for me to kill myself. It's easier for make my if I, not I shouldn't say that. It's easier for
I
me
know
to
what
make
you mean. Right.
myself sick. I could
Right.
throw up after eating 3 slices. I could throw up after drinking too quick, like, or too much coffee or something, or like, I mean, not too much, but like chugging it. I could.
Right. So now you have to take sips. You can't just like you can't gulp it down. You have to take.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just now it's just pacing.
Right. Right. So now here's another question. So I know you were on all those medications when you were prior to the surgery. So are you still on medication now?
No.
You
So
know,
it,
I'm,
it,
I,
yeah,
yo,
nah.
listen. I mean, guys, it's like, and I'm saying guys, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, like, this is legit. Like, a lot of times we are on medication because of our lifestyle, and we can be taken off with doctor's permission. So I'm not promoting, for us to get ourselves off our own medication. But
Well, yeah, that's the thing too. That was the thing too, because like once I did the weight loss, I was still on my medications.
right,
I was still on my
you
medications,
have to be
and I
tapered
still had
off.
to go. Yeah, so I had to be tampered off of it. Once I lost, there was a point of time, and the doctor, even my surgeon, even told me. The doctors even told me, like, you're still gonna I was taking 2 high blood pressure medications. They said that once after the surgery, they took me down from 2 to 1, and then not only that, they made the milligram. They cut it short. They cut it in
Right,
half. The
they
milligram, the
decrease
dosage
the
in half.
dose.
Right.
Right,
So, but they told me, the doctors eventually told me throughout the time. They said eventually there's gonna come a point in time where you might be at home or you might be at work, but you're gonna feel dizzy and tired, and that's when you're gonna realize you're still gonna be in the medication, taking the high blood pressure medication, but that's when you're going to realize where you've lost enough weight where you're no longer going to need you're no longer going to need that. So when you feel like that, that's when you need to call us and say, "Hey, this is how I feel regarding this. I need to come in or I need to be taken off." So that's what I did when that happened. I was at work. I was sitting down. It was still in 20. It was like beginning of 2019, and then that's when I was taken off of that, and then I had to do. And I had to at the time. I had a hard time during that time, but before, if you're on a CPAP machine, before you can't just get off the CPAP, you have to do a whole nother sleep study. I know the whether it's at the hospital or at your home or whatever, you have to do
Yeah.
the sleep study. And then that's when they tell you, okay, you're good enough to get off of the CPAP. So I did the sleep study after almost like about a year after the surgery, and then since then I've been zero everything.
That is amazing. Oh my goodness. It's amazing. It's just amazing how much just decreasing your weight has improved your overall life. Just to hear about it, not being on medication, not having to be apneic during your sleep. So that's when you like stop breathing while you're sleeping. Having now you're not on medication. I mean, sorry, on the CPAP anymore. So I mean, it sounds like a win-win to me. How about for you? How does that sound to you?
I mean, it sounds good, like I definitely.
Yo, what was it? No, 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 no. I'm not gonna let you breeze over that. Like, it sounds like there's a lot of reservation right there.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like I said, I'm a fat kid at heart. I've always loved food. I'm always gonna love food. You know what I mean? So I have these moments, like I had these moments a lot before through after the surgery, but now it's less, but I still have them. Like I'll have these moments where I'll be eating something and or I'll drink something, like these little I know what, after the surgery you build these, you realize you have these habits in the past that they were bad habits, but at the time you don't know they're bad habits, and you realize they're bad habits, and it's the littlest shit. Like I'm gonna tell you one thing. Like before the surgery, if I was to go eat a burger and I would have, whether it's a Coke, like, or a water or a juice, you take a couple of bites, you eat, you chew, you swallow, and then you take a sip of the drink. Then you go back to eating the burger, and then you go back to sipping the drink. That's a bad habit. That is not good for you, for your body. You may not realize it, but it's really not, okay? Because you're mixing that. It's technically harder for your digestion system. So when you after the surgery, they tell you, throughout the process, they tell you that's the one thing that you can't really do. You can't eat and drink. So you have to either drink a certain amount, drink what you want to drink to kill your thirst, to quench your thirst and be satisfied, and then switch the food. You don't have to wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes. No, and then eat. But no, you drink first, or then you eat first, and then you drink. But here's the trick: if you're gonna eat first and then drink, then you wait 5 minutes or 10 minutes till the food settles. Versus the eating and drink. That's a bad habit, and it's crazy because there was a point in time where I did that after the surgery, and it's not that I didn't get sick, I didn't throw up, but you could feel it, and that's another thing. You feel everything in your stomach throughout this, like after the surgery, from when you drink the liquid, when you swallow that sip of water, you can feel it going down,
Yep.
like it's going
Your
down through your
stomach is so much
stomach.
smaller now. Yeah.
Yeah, you can feel it when you're eating. If you feel like if you're eating mashed potatoes or you're chewing, you feel it going down.
Right.
Especially at the beginning, and like now it's not as much. You get
Right.
used to it, but you feel everything in your stomach. So when there's gonna come a point where you might go back, you might do that, and that feeling is not good, not a good feeling. It's not comfortable, I should say. So it's
That's
just these
awesome.
little habits that you have back then, and it's like I don't know, like it's just weird. Like eating late at night, I can't do that no more. Like I don't eat past 7. Um, the latest I've ever eaten lately was like 8:30, but that's just because COVID stress. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, that's at the same time I should say that's not an excuse,
Right.
but it's definitely not the same.
Is there what's and this is gonna be like the last question. Is there what can you do now that you couldn't do before?
Oh, for real? Listen. How deep do you want me to get into? Like, I
I
mean,
mean,
name something and I'll tell you. Like, I mean, not
I mean,
something, but like from what? From
okay,
from
let's intro.
sports to music, from sports to music to cars to whatever you name it, I'll tell you something. Go. I'm
Oh
gonna
my,
tell
well,
you
how about let's
anything.
talk about music because I mean we used to sing together. So now have your
Okay,
voice
I
changed?
can sing high. I have higher range.
That's awesome.
I have higher range because now that I'm able to run more and I'm more active, my breathing is a lot better. I mean, yes, it could be better because I do have still have certain bad habits. I smoke, but you know what I mean? Like my range is higher from better breathing, heavier stronger stamina, stronger diaphragm. So for music, yeah, higher range, lower
That's
range.
awesome.
I can sing, you know, I have more room to play with.
That's awesome. And how
Um,
about sports? Do you go to the gym? Obviously, do you feel like you have more endurance now?
Sports before I could never run a mile. Now I can actually jog a mile without stopping to walk. Before a mile, I could walk a mile and it would be 13 minutes. Now I can jog a mile in about 8 minutes. Um, before I couldn't do a single push-up. Now I can do at least 15, 20.
That's awesome.
Um, you know, I can it's weird because before when I was big, before the surgery, I was 5'8". I lost so much weight. I went and saw the doctor. I ended up shrinking. I was like 5'7", but come to find out, that's all from the fat. That's all from the fat. And it comes to find out my shoe size shrank. I used to wear a 10 and a half because I had wide feet. So now my true size, I'm a size nine, like I'm a size like a nine, 9.5. You know, so it's like it's just everything.
That's
Like,
awesome.
but sports, I can actually play basketball. I could do things. I could jog a mile before I couldn't. Um, I have longer stamina. I can run up a flight of stairs versus being after not even finishing going up the first flight after
Right.
halfway up.
Right.
So I mean, you name it, man. Like
That's
you
awesome.
name it, I can do it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I it sounds like your quality
Like
of life
the
have
one
improved so
the
much since then.
the one thing that I have yet to try, the
Hmm.
one thing that I have yet to not even try to see it for myself because it's like, you notice little things like you sit in the car. You're like before I used to ride super low. I would get in the car, when I was big, I would put the seat super low. Now I have to raise the seat because I shrunk in height. So I have to raise the seat. So and then not only that, I have to move closer to the steering wheel, so I have all this extra room from my stomach to the steering wheel. I have no more stomach. Uh, um, gentlemen, gentlemen,
Yep.
ladies, if it's too much TMI, I understand. Gentlemen, once you are able to see down there something that you have never been seen in your life, I'm telling you, I'll keep it real. No shame in my game. Yo, listen, I'm gonna tell you,
Yep.
you'll be glad, bro. You'll be glad. You know what I'm saying? And it's just I don't know, man. Like from the littlest things to the biggest details, like you know, summer. They had the Sterling Fair just before COVID happened. They had the fairs. I went on the Ferris wheel. I went in these little, not a roller coaster, but like when you were big, they used to have like the adapter, the extender for the belt. Like, but yeah, going back, that's the one thing left that I have yet to try. Like because of COVID, nobody's been traveling. Things like that. Like I have yet to sit in a plane. I haven't sat in a plane yet. So last time I was in a plane, I needed an extender for the seatbelt.
Mm.
Go figure. Now, I used to be a five. My biggest size in shirt and jacket was a 5XL. My biggest waist size was a 54. I am now a 32 in waist. I am a size large in a shirt. As far as numbers and suits, I don't know, but I just bought myself a brand new Kenneth Cole suit. Um, just because, like,
Yeah,
that's
why
another thing.
not?
Like,
I
you
mean,
just,
why
why
not? It's
not?
always good to
Like,
have a nice
I
suit
can
in
go
your
to
closet.
I can go to Express and I can look at a size large versus going to sticking to one store, depending on one store, and that's big and tall, or Burlington Coat Factory's big and tall section. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, you just have a
yeah,
lot more options, and then you realize you have more options, and you just become happier with yourself. And when you're happier with yourself, you just have more confidence in yourself. And when you have more confidence in yourself, that's when you can love others more, because you can't love others unless you love yourself. So I mean,
right.
I don't know, and that's just me being me real. I don't know what else to say, man. It's
No,
just
I mean, but those are facts though, Gabe. Like those are real facts, and I'm like so happy that you opened up and you said all that, because those are important things to hear. Because sometimes we don't really discuss them, but I mean, these are things to hear. So I'm really happy that you shared all that.
mm-hmm.
I'm really happy. So I mean, I am pretty much done with all my. Well, one last thing. Are you struggling? Is there anything that you're still struggling with right now that you're still working on?
Yeah, I'm still trying to eat a steak, yo. I haven't given up on that. Like, my girl,
Fair
like,
enough. Fair
the,
enough.
the the only way I can eat a steak is, like, if my girl makes it. But even though if I do, it's not even like it's a piece of that's it, because I'm still kind of scared on that. But
Right.
no, that I mean, no, honestly, other than that, no, I don't really struggle with anything. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been cut, I cut soda way before the surgery. Way before the surgery. That's just because of a video that I saw on YouTube. I saw a video on YouTube. It's a video. It's like a clear Tupperware, and it's got stomach acid inside the Tupperware, and they take a can of Coca-Cola and they pour it in the stomach acid. And what it is that's that's how your stomach reacts to the soda. So you see that. When I saw that video for the first time, and I saw it on Facebook when I first saw it, that was it was shared on Facebook. That's when I was like, I gotta stop drinking soda. And
Mm,
that's, your stomach gets it turns into, it's like a sponge that you use to wash your dishes. It's like, you pour the water, you put the sponge underneath the water gets hits the sponge soaks up,
mhm.
soaks up. So the water, what happens is you pour the Coke, the stomach acid is just turning into foam, and it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it just eventually that foam goes, overlaps, and it just spills over the Tupperware. And it's like, and it says this is how this is the inside of your stomach when you drink Coca-Cola or a soda.
Oh my goodness, that's
and
crazy.
then and
I
then
definitely
it's
have to
like,
find that video now.
yeah, like I can pull it up and send it to you. I'll probably do it tomorrow, tonight, or
Okay.
something. There's another video that I ended up seeing also. Like, this dude took he made his own, he learned how to make his own, potato chips. So he made his own homemade potato chips, and he ended up burning it by accident. So he did a YouTube video of a Doritos. He took a Doritos and he took a lighter and he melted the Dorito. And when you see the Dorito melt, you know that's not a real chip. For those people that think that Doritos is a real chips, it's not real chips. Okay, that's like artificial crap. Same thing with certain cheeses. If you go and buy that deli cheese from the store, that the single, not, I don't know the
The
brand, I forgot
slice
the
it,
brand, but like the sliced ones, but like the cheap brands, the like,
Velveeta.
no, like, well, I don't know about Velveeta, but like those, but yeah, like those, but like the Walmart brand, or like the Price Chopper brand, like I saw it on those. Do the same thing. You do the same thing. If it's real cheese, my people, I'm a cheese lover. If it's real cheese, you see the cheese melt. You see the cheese melt like drip. This cheese does not melt. The way it melts is different. It's like plastic. So
Yeah.
it's like, you see these things, like, yeah, it's just gross. So, like, I cut certain things, like I switched from artificial things, cut back on soda, stop soda before the surgery.
That's
And
awesome.
then after the surgery, I just saw more things, realized more things. And then you just feel it in your body, and then, you feel how good you are. At the same time, you're being a lot more disciplined, especially after surgery, because once you get sick, you don't like that feeling.
Yep.
So you don't want to go through that again. So you just tell yourself, at the end of the day, you get more used to it. Used to it becomes a habit.
Right.
Um,
Right. Right.
so it just, at the end of the day, it's just, you realize these little things, and it's just like, it's cool. But
Well, that
yeah.
that's awesome. Well, I thank you so much for sharing, because I mean, you didn't have to share anything. So thank you so much for accepting my invitation, for sharing all this information, for sharing your journey. And
Yeah,
so
where can I send this to people? Can other people watch it? Are other people gonna watch
absolutely,
this? So what
once
is
I
this? Is this a
one,
podcast? I don't even know.
it
You didn't
might
even
be,
tell
it
me. You
might
just
turn
said,
into a
hey, you want to do
podcast.
an interview on the weight about the weight? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. I got you. Yeah, but is it a podcast? Like I'm a
It could
podcast
be.
dude, so I listen to podcasts a lot. So
Okay, well, for now, I'm definitely gonna be posting it on my business page, my Instagram business page, right?
mm-hmm.
So once I post it, I'll tag you, and you can have anybody you want watch it. But you know, who knows? This might turn into a podcast. We'll see.
All right.
Yeah, yeah. But for now, it's just like interviews, just posting weekly about different people and their weight loss journeys, and just sharing, just as a way to inspire others to start their own health journey. Not necessarily weight loss, because not everybody struggles with weight, right?
Mm-hmm.
But definitely we all struggle in some sort of capacity in terms of obtaining or being well in terms of in terms of health. And we're getting older, we're not getting younger, you know what I mean? So then things that we used to do when we were younger, it starts to catch up. And especially now around this age, in our late 30s and our early 40s, that's when a lot of these lifestyle chronic illnesses start to manifest itself. So it's like, yo, if we don't take charge of our health, it's gonna go down. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
we can't rely on our healthcare system or like insurance or what have you, because we don't know what that's gonna look like. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? And healthcare is it's healthcare. Our healthcare system is healthcare, and as you know, that you were prescribed medication, but you know clearly there were some other things that needed to be done in addition to those medications. So I mean, instead of just relying just solely on those medications, this is just a way to just empower people, inspire people to say, hey, I need to do something on myself as well, and that others have done it and they have gone through it, and maybe they're still going through it, but I can do the same thing. And obviously it's going
Word.
to look different from one person to another, but you know, it's personal. But at the end, it's what's best for us. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily a number, because a number that's good for me is not going to be good for like the next person, or for you, it's not going to be good for the next person. So it's just encouraging everybody to start their own wellness, their own health journey, because health is much more important than we give it credit for. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
it's super important. So this is what this is about. So I mean, who knows where it's gonna lead afterwards? So we'll see where that goes. But this is where we are now. So I'm happy that you joined. And so for everyone watching, I will be posting Gabe's information, so you can definitely catch up with him, see what he's doing, maybe buy a car from him. You know what I mean? If you're looking for some vehicles, now's a good time. I hear. I don't know. It's always a good time to buy a car, I feel like,
Yeah.
but maybe it's not. I don't know. But hey,
Well,
I'm gonna say
I'm
I'm
not
gonna
gonna
go.
start on that. You know what I mean? I
Right.
could start on that, and I could not stop. So it's always a good time to
It's
do
always good.
something.
It's
It's
always
always
a
a
good
good
time.
time to do something. It's
Absolutely.
always a good time for something. So
That's right. That's right. And you know
yeah,
what? Time is going by. So, guys, you're listening to this. If you're thinking about weight loss, you want to hit up, I mean, not weight loss per se, but like bariatric surgery, you can definitely hit up Gabe with some more questions if I didn't ask them. But it's possible if you just want to, and it's not taking the easy way out, right, Gabe? As you,
right.
it's not taking the
Yeah,
easy
because at the
way
end
out.
of the day, I still got to go to the gym. Okay,
Right.
because
Right. Still got to
at
do
the
the
end,
work
here's
afterwards.
another thing, and here's another thing, and this is actually, you know, because when you start the seminar, before you start the whole process, the doctor, you can actually ask the doctor, the surgeon, questions, and it wasn't me. It was actually someone else that was there. I don't know the guy, but they were asking, you know, depending, because there's some people lose a lot of weight, some people lose less, some people lose more than others. I ended up losing so much weight. I have saggy skin. Someone asked if their insurance covers the surgery to remove skin, and I'm going to tell you right now, they do not cover that. Insurance does not cover that, simply because it's a cosmetic surgery. So they do not cover that. So unless you got the money, then that's really the easy way out. That's the easy way out. You want the easy way out, you pay the money to get that excess skin removed from you. That's the easy way out, because at the end of the day, I'm still running around at the dealership. That's my cardio. I'm still doing weights. When I go to the gym, I still do weights. You know, I'm not lifting as much. Like I said, I lost muscle. You know, I have to start from scratch, but I'm still doing weights.
Right.
Um, I'm still going to the gym. I still have to do that. I still have to keep a routine. If I don't go to the gym, you know, when gyms were shut down during COVID, I was using, you know, the gallon jugs of water, gallon jugs of milk during the pandemic, you know, when
Yeah.
everybody was buying
Absolutely.
those to stock up, things like that. So, you know, I was using gallon jugs. I have a bar in, you know, in between, you know, going from one end of the other end of the doorway. so I could work on pull-ups. I'm doing push-ups. Download the apps if you need it be. If not, I mean, I haven't done any video, no Zoom chat. I don't have no buddies. I've been working out by myself. At this time, it would have been best to do it, because at the same time I was going through this, especially throughout the pandemic. Hanif has been doing his own thing. He's been working on his own program, his own protein, from food plans, everything. Shout out to Hanif and Katasha on that. Shout out to you and your thing that you're doing as well. Shout out to Mark Glave on his foods
Yeah.
and his journey and everything.
Yeah.
Everybody's everybody's doing great. Everybody's looking great. I know y'all feel great because I feel great. So it's
That's
like,
awesome.
shout out to you guys.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Gabe. So thank you so very much. All right, guys. So you'll see us. Well, you see me for that's it for today, and you'll see me for another interview another time. But we thank you so much, Gabe, for this time. Guys, comment below, ask your questions, and we'll get back to them when we can. All right. Thank you so much. We're
Yeah.
signing off. Bye.